Today I'm reading medicine Natrum carb from the book Soul of Remedy, book written by Dr.Rajan Sankaran. Natrum carb is a salt belonging to the soric miasm. In the natrum element, we see a marked desire to form and maintain a relationship, especially on one-to-one level. The natrum carb humans need just a relationship and is very dependent on his one relationship, without which she feels tremendous fear, sadness, and sense of isolation. This is brought out best in the delusion of Natrum carb, delusion division between himself and other. It is this tremendous need for the dependent on the relationship that makes them very vulnerable to hurt. Natrum therefore develop a fear of being people and tries to avoid contact. While on one hand she tried to avoid company, she also dreaded being alone. Company aversion to yet dread to being alone. This is the rubric. The theme of carbonate is that of fear of death with a need for vital reaction in order to survive, as suggested by the rubric, starting from the fright. Thus, the main theme of Natrum carb is of the vital reaction needed by the person who is alone. Example, without relationship on a one-to-one level with another human being. His forsaken feeling and lonely feeling gives rise to the two basic feelings of Natrum carb, which are ennui means boredom and apprehension means anxiety. The ennui produces some melancholic and sad and despondent mood, and while anxiety is with a great regard to the future. Natrum carb is very sensitive, especially to the separation from the beloved and to be the breaking of relationship. When the beloved is not there or has gone away, the patient shows great sadness, reacting to sad music, especially that from the piano. They desire to make contact but have been unsuccessful in forming a relationship and blame themselves for these issues. Delusions he cannot succeed, does everything wrong. They become estranged from their family and friends and bear their grief silently, feeling forsaken. The Natrum Cow woman feels like an outcast and is always at the of the abuse. Receiving and the end of the abuse means offended easily. She feels the society has ganged up in order to pursue her, making her feel she is abnormal and not a part of the group. Natrum carbonicum people can have severe inferiority complex, especially in the sphere of forming a relationship. They may feel unworthy of love or of any relationship. I have found in a Natrum carb a history of disturbed relationship with one of the parents, especially being forsaken or neglected by the father or the mother. A woman may give the history of having been neglected by her father in a childhood. She then develop a fear of people and sensitivity to certain people. She react to the kind of behavior with a quarrelsome, anxiety, and courage. She becomes suspicious, violent, indignant, heedless, imagining herself to be sick and seeing no hope in her knowing situation. Therefore, inconsolable. She becomes sad and weeps, and extremely in extreme cases can become indifferent and suicidal too. In this knowing situation, there is anxiety about the future. She is confused, and this confusion gets worse by the dwelling on the problem. There is a dullness, prostration of the mind, indifference, discouragement, and despair. At such time, she will avoid the sign of even her intimate friends, sight of even her intimate friends. However, she may turn to a sympathizer for support in the form of being magnetized as she feels more and more isolated, alone, and become avaricious, developing a fear of robbers. All this naturally keeps her a disconnected, uncomfortable, and sad state. There is also the vital fear seen in in the rubrics like starting at the slightest noise, fear of all mankind, fear of thunderstorm, fear constant of everything. It is interesting to note that Natrum carp does not have any fear of delusion of animals. She is only afraid of people. Natrum carp is afraid of the human quality of the forming a group and casting people out if they don't fit into the expected norms of the group. Natrum carp people are normally quite independent and self-sufficient, living their life alone. Though having a good contact with others, they are sociable and can be loquacious and vivacious. I have found them to be organized, sincere, honest, straightforward, non manipulative people with strong principles. They can be resolute, pers- uh, persevering, self-possession, self-possessed and courageous. It's mentioned in Alice Encyclopedia. They are very responsive to the music, sensitive and refined. They are sympathetic and help others. Sensitive, especially to the suffering of people who are lonely and forsaken by the society. For example, with the big beggars, they can fight for others. On the other hand, they can be quite quarrelsome and pugnacious. The dream of Natrum carbonicum include dream of the danger, of the robber, of the murder, of corpus, of water and flood. While the pleasant dreams are of marrying two women, of the parties and entertainment, the pleasant dream shows that the patient is setting up the relationship and having good contact with the society, whereas the anxious dream shows fear of death and fear associated with being alone, being loneliness. Physical symptoms are chilly but heat of sun aggravate, feeling of tremendous coldness, icy coldness, especially of the hand and the fingers, heaviness of the eyelids, temporal headache, and rubrics are aversion to husband, aversion to member of the family, cheerful, gay, and happy, company, aversion to, yet dread to be alone, content, delusion, division between himself and delusion division between himself and others, delusion wedding of estranged from family, estranged from friends, fear of misfortune, fear of thunderstorm, forsaken feeling, indifference when in society, joy, ailment from excessive, misanthropy, sadness, aversion to company, desire for solitude, sympathetic, and tranquility. Rag Yaman produced the feeling of Netramkar. During approving at my seminar in Bombay, the main theme that comes up after playing the rag were of solitude, being alone in the world. Came up the playing the rag where of solitude, being alone in the world, division between oneself and other, being in the world of one's own, a solitude without fear, a lofty feeling as if looking at the city below, a feeling of gaiety and mirth, contentment and tranquility, anxiety for others and sympathy. All also, on the other hand, sadness like that which is felt on the departure of the near and dear one, like wedding ceremony. The beloved is going away, and his wife is telling him not to go away, pacifying a loved ones as if waiting for someone, being neglected by the friends, or being or seeing something black, fearful, darkness, a desire to be at mother's breast. This is all about Natrum Car.